I'm Lynda, and this is my gorgeous husband.
Why? Not true. Okay, hi, I'm Joshua here, and I'm here with my lovely wife of 21 years, Lynda. We're very excited to share with you some of the stories that we have in our lives. So, here we go.
Okay, I wouldn't say biggest surprise about him. I would say biggest surprise about marriage. I think I've never heard people talk about marriage as like you actually, okay, they say you grow with one another, right? But I've never heard them say that you also go through the changes yourself. So for example, when I turned 40, I noticed things about myself that were changing, like the way I think. I became bolder, more confident as a woman. I think all women go through these phases, and I think men go through the phases as well, but it's at different timing. So because of that, I think we also throughout marriages have to learn to give space for that, and also how to work with each other and walk with each other through our growing up years as well. Yeah, so that's one thing that I thought was the biggest surprise.
Yeah, for me, I guess the one of the biggest surprise that I found very interesting in life or in marriage was that we begin to take on each other's characteristics. So, for example, let's say in a disagreement or in a dispute, right? In the early years, I will be the one who always come to her and just say, hey, so what's the problem? I will always be digging and wanting to know what is it. And she would be the one that is the quieter one, right? That would like to process it first on her own, and then later on, then when she's ready, and then we talk about it. But interestingly, now in the marriage, it's the other way around. I think one of the biggest thing for me was to learn earlier in the marriage to see her for who she's becoming. Honestly, she can be the most annoying person to me because she's so close to me and everything she says or does matters to me, right? The significance is multiplied so much more. But then there are times where I also have to tell myself that, look, if God also didn't have that same kind of mercy for me, He would have also, treated me very differently, right? Instead of the grace and mercy. So I've been trying to practice that in the marriage, and it takes conscious effort, not to just blow up and then argue logically, because you will learn very early in marriage that logic doesn't really solve all arguments. It's taking care of the heart, taking care of the person, and really honoring the person, even in those very tough times where you are angry with the person. But God has always been very faithful and very good. So many times there are times where we don't agree on certain things, and then we go separate ways, but then we are praying, and then later on we will come back again. And this time when we come back and we speak again, the atmosphere is different as well. So I know that that God is working in both of our hearts, still teaching us, still guiding us.
I think for me would be to never think that I'm always right. Like just last night, he told me something that I did, and then this afternoon, I had someone tell me something also that I did that upset them. So I think what really helps is when we get this kind of feedback, to always hear and learn from it, and not think that we're always right? Because the tendency is really want to be right, but to know that we are still growing, we're still learning, and to also on our own back end to learn and to grow as well.
Yeah. When we got married, two become one. And that in the beginning is just head knowledge, but then when you start to live together, you start to live life together, do life together, our hearts are more knitted together, our spirits are more knitted together, so such that when there is a disagreement, there is a lot more pain, a lot more challenges in stirring of the spirits, that you are just put back together and we need to resolve it, right? And I think that's where I think the Holy Spirit really helps us, because if left to our own devices, our own pride, I think there will be a lot more arguments and difficulties to reconcile.
We cannot just look back at one disagreement.
Too many lah.
Yeah, we have a lot of agreements, and I think it's through the process of all these different agreements that we learn. And God has been working this in my own life, is that I can remember things, I think, quite well, but I prayed before that I do not want to remember this agreement. And somehow I realized that I cannot recall this agreement. I would remember, do you remember that time we were at Verona Square and we quarreled, but I cannot remember what we quarreled about. Yeah. So, but the thing is that now whenever we quarrel, we always come back very quickly, not like last time. Last time we take a long time, then we come back and try to resolve stuff. And that's why we always remember what we quarrel about, But now we resolve them very quickly. Then we just, after that, we learn and we move on from there. So that's one thing that has evolved in our relationship.
I think our love languages have changed from the earliest years to now, but I know that for hers, it was quality time together. But I found that out only after a few arguments, maybe. So I know that is hers, and I think that was something that was very important to know, because then I would know how to invest my time with her in a way that she would appreciate. Yeah. So in the earlier years, it was challenging because after a long day at work, you come back home, you just want to chill. But then there is this responsibility that I felt I needed to carry out, which was to sit down and have a conversation. So it felt like a task in the beginning. But then the more that we did, the more I disciplined myself to do it. I realized that it brought about more benefits, because the more I filled up her love tank, so to speak, the more gentle she was with me, the more grace there was in the marriage, So then I realized, actually, if I do this, it's a good investment.
Help yourself.
Yeah, I mean, help her to help me, right? Because I think to keep the peace in the marriage also is very, very rewarding, right? So it's doing the right things at the right time and wisely.
I realized over the years that this actually, it wasn't really very effective, because what happened is I compartmentalized. I say, okay, this is your love language, and I focus on that. But I think over the years, as we grew, as we are still growing, as we spend more time together, I realized that, for example, he likes it when I'm kind to him in my words, right? But then he also likes it when I spend time with him. Hey, do you want to watch a movie? Which I really don't like to. But he likes it when I say, okay, do you want to watch a movie together? Do you want to sit down and watch something together? And then he likes it when I think of him out of no reason and just randomly buy stuff. So all these are across the category. So I realize it's not finding one category, but rather we really have to put in the effort and work at it. Like you have to keep knowing your partner. You don't just know them in a category and focus on the category, but you just have to keep knowing each other, the different things that they like, the different things that make them feel loved.
Yeah, and then I find different seasons we will have different dominant love language. So as long as we keep that conversation going, the open channel where we can sit down and talk and just open our hearts to one another, to share what changes we're going through, then it will help us to understand each other better and our needs. So I think that keeping that channel open is something that we do very consciously. Yeah. So every night we try to sit down on the sofa, and then if there's things to update one another, we will update. And then when there are times where we feel that we shared a certain challenge or something that's really important that's going on, then we want to sit down and pray together. This one, for me, it was very obvious. For Lynda, I noticed it takes very little for her to go all in for God. All she needs is a strong sensing from God, or a word, one phrase, and then she jumps. She goes all in. Whereas for me, I need a lot of convincing. Pray for a word, and then the word comes, and then I'll tell God, please ask Lynda to come and confirm it to me. But because I see her go all in so quickly, when she just jumps in, how the ministry grows, how God brings people along a path to encourage her, to confirm what's going on, it really encouraged me to feel that, hey, maybe I should try that also. Don't have to understand everything, don't have to cover all the bases, but just go in and just do what God has taught me to do. So whether is it praying for somebody, whether is it reaching out to someone that I'm not familiar with, but still striking a conversation, or to say speak a prayer over them, I feel that when I see her do it, I also want to become like that. So that has something that has really encouraged me and built my faith along the way.
Thank you. For me, it would be prayer. I think in church setting, I talk a lot about prayer. I think I talk about prayer more than you. But the way you pray at home actually encouraged me. So I'll see him praying on his knees. So he actually has this Christian thing that he would take out to pray on his knees. Then sometimes I'll go into the room and I'll see him on the bed praying. I'll see him praying when he wakes up, just sitting on the bed. So how you pray encourages me. And it makes me, every time when I see that, it makes me want to connect with God again in prayer.
I will encourage my younger self this way. I will tell him that every relationship requires hard work. I know it's cliche to say it, but I will tell my younger self to go all in, from the beginning. To learn to trust earlier, learn to love without needing impetus to love, and to learn to forgive easily. Because to sustain a marriage is not just about feeling good, it's about building up one another. In the beginning, it was always like what I would benefit from it, or how I would behave. But I've learned that in a marriage, it's about really loving one another, to build each other up. Her success is my success, and what she has to go through is something that God wants me to be part of as well. So so two become one. So that becomes very, very practical. So I will tell my younger self to build up perseverance, okay, and not to use logic so much to resolve arguments, uh, um, because I find that logic really is overrated in a marriage. You can be right, but then you destroy the marriage. So what good does it bring? But when we learn to love one another, and to see that we sacrifice one another, I think that's a lot. That builds the marriage and keeps the marriage together, So there are times where I will give in, I will sacrifice, I will be silent, I'll be quiet, and I will go with the flow. There are times where I will need to be the one to encourage her when God has put something on her heart. Even though I don't fully understand what's going on, but when I hear that God is speaking, then I will want to encourage. I shouldn't be thinking, but how do we sustain it? How do we ensure a successful outcome? But to encourage her at that point, to know what's the word for the now and to release it over her, rather than logically trying to figure out the final outcome. So I think that helps because we need to be in the now, to appreciate one another in the now, to be present in the now. So I'm still learning. But I think these are the things that really help us, or help me to love her better as a husband, as well as also to be a better father.
I think I would tell my younger self to go into marriage being open. So it's not just who you see now, you get married and this is going to be the person that you will have for the rest of your life. We'll still become different people. And the other thing is, they say that you shouldn't lose yourself, your individual self. I mean, yes, it's true, but in a marriage, if you hold on to that idea that you are an individual self, I think what's going to happen is that you will start to not allow this to become one thing, like what you're saying just now, like how I become more like you become more like me. And that is actually one danger in marriage, where you choose to keep your own self very strongly. It's not that you're not your own person, you are, but then if you choose to keep that strongly, then you are building a wall and say, okay, I am myself, I am my person. But the truth is that when you are together with another person, it's really to become one. And this is really very important in marriage, because I find that whatever ministry that we do, the synergy between us is what makes our ministry, of course, with the grace of God, it's the synergy between us that makes our ministry effective. It's how we are so connected together that makes what we do effective.
The other thing that we have learned to do is to prophesy into our own marriage. Okay? So I do it comically, in a sense that I will tell her a few things. I'll tell her, I'm happy to be stuck with you. Recently, I told her that, there's this Lao Hui brand, Lao Pan, right? So I will tell her that she's my Lao Pan. I mean, looking ahead, that we're going to grow old together, that we're going to be partners, partners in crime together as we grow old. And we just want to keep prophesying. Whether, we laugh about it or it's humorous, I think there's something in our spirits and our hearts that we just want to speak into our marriage. So I think that is something that is a habit that we want to do, so that we remind our spirit person that, look, this is for the long haul, and there's going to be joy in it. There's going to be trials, but there's going to be more joy as we overcome one trial after another. So God has been really very good, and we want to speak God into everything we do, because if not, then we'll probably mess it up so easily, and so easy to just give up, I suppose. So we just want to thank God for His grace and His mercy. Okay, tradition, I'm not sure, but something we do consciously is that we laugh together. We want to spend time together. We want to still be amazed at or be tickled at the things in each other. So for me, she enjoys my corniness, lah, and now that jokes become so trendy, right? So I'm glad I'm fitting in quite well. So I think that's something, lah, to just learn to enjoy one another.
I didn't marry him because he's funny. You know how people say marry someone who's funny. I didn't marry him because he is funny, but he makes me laugh. Yeah, like in our marriage, he makes me laugh. Yeah, like all the time. Yeah, he makes me laugh. So yes, we have times, like even last night when we were talking, we were just laughing, like yesterday. Yeah, so without the kids, we are also enjoying each other and laughing together. Yeah, I would say one thing that keeps our marriage alive is, I don't know whether I can say this, is kissing. Yeah. I mean, for some couples is when they look at each other, when they hold hands or what. But for us, we just have this thing about, I feel about us, like sometimes it will be like when we have families over, then I'm in the kitchen washing, and then he comes over, he brings things over to wash and all that, we're family. But he'll come over and then he give me a kiss, or like throughout the day, or like when I go to the bathroom, when he works from home, when I go to the bathroom, when I come out from the bathroom, he will stop me before I leave the bedroom to kiss me. So I think that is what is it, I cannot say. I feel that this short,
Intimacy.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a connection thing. It's like, hey, I see you, I love you,
I acknowledge you,
I care about you. I mean, it's so many things in just one kiss. Yeah. So I feel that is one thing that we have kept throughout all this time that actually helps. I mean, it helps me to stay connected. Yeah. No.
I guess the verse that comes to mind is he who finds a good wife finds a good thing, something like that, right? The verse. Oh, I think that is very, very true. So I think that verse is becoming to mean a lot to me, in these few years. Yeah. So I really appreciate, having a good wife.
Yeah, for me it would be Proverbs 31. Yeah, because that is who I want to be to my husband as well. I want to be that good wife to him. I want to be that good support for him. And that is all in Proverbs 31. And when I look at Proverbs 31, also I'm thinking, this is God's word. This is what God says. So in choosing that, I'm also choosing to be a good wife to him for God as well. So that has, I think this is what also helped me when I find it challenging. So I'm first and foremost in my role for God, yeah, then for my husband. So that actually helped me a lot.
Thank you.